Hi guys, today I'll just give a small demo regarding using how to use Excel sheet for computation of a financial data. Here when in this sheet you scroll down, this is 10 years of financial data for two kinds of investments. One is called as FD, which is called as fixed deposit. The FD, I will identify it as fixed deposit, and this is RD, which is recurring deposit. And here you have the returns of RD for 10 years of investment. If you go by a monthly 5,200 rupees, I have done it in Indian rupees. All the calculations are done to the fourth decimal accuracy, and the calculation is in Indian rupees. Per month investment of about 5,200, as recently announced by a bank named Central Bank, which is centralized bank for the Indian citizens. This calculation can be applied for the foreign natives as well. You can just assume, instead of these areas where I have highlighted the 5,200, this is the sum invested each year from January to December. So they can edit this entire thing for their own currency values and see for themselves what would be the net investment returns in two different investment schemes, and what is the difference between those two. Why should one go for a recurring deposit and when, otherwise why should one go for a fixed deposit and when. See, for instance, you are having right now a bank balance of 6.24 lakhs, and the savings percentage of the savings return itself, if you don't make an investment and just keep it in the bank, and if the bank offers you a 4% interest per annum, that is 12 months, then this is how your account will behave, even if you deduct a monthly amount of 5,200 towards a deposit of a recurring amount. So let's just assume, I'll just put it in a simple word. These are the number of years here: 1 2 3 4 5, 2014 January to December. This is the monthly installment investment that you have made for a recurring deposit, and the next year it turns out with a 9.5% interest. That is 1 plus 9.5 divided by 100. 9.5 divided by 100 is equal to 0.095, which added with 1 gives 1.095. So roughly your amount turns every year by 1.095, which is this much. For 5,200 it is 5,694. So this particular cell values indicate what they imply is on January 2014, if you make an investment of 5,200, it becomes 5,694 by 2015 of next January, and hence it progresses each January. It gets multiplied by 1.095 every year January, and this is the 2024 year. In the month of January 2024, like this, if it gets multiplied for 10 times by 1.095, the 5,200 rupees which you had earlier invested in 2014 January turns out to be 12,886 point this much, and 2024. If you fix your timeline to see the deposit returns for each amount you make monthly, as on December 2024 instead of January, you keep the month end of that year to see the withdrawal. If your withdrawal date of the investment is on December 2024, so we have to calculate as on December how much will be your amount, and for each investment monthly, what would that amount turn out to be on 2024 December. In order to calculate this, you have to understand one more thing, that the 9.5% is per annum, that is for 12 months. Now, as on January 2024, this amount turned out to be 5,200, and this became this much, 12,886. But on the same year, as on December, it has 11 more months to go. So for 9.5%, if for 12 months it is 9.5%, for 12 months it is 9.5%, then for 11 months how much it would be? It is as simple as that. You have to multiply this 9.5 9.5 with 11, that is T5. T5 into R5. R5 is this much number of months. T5 into R5, that is 9.5 into 11 divided by 12. So this is the percentage, 8.7083 for 11 months and 7.9167 for 10 months. And say for example for 2 months at the rate of 9.5 per annum, you will be getting for 2 months you will be getting a 1.5833% of interest. This is exactly how you should know for each month the equivalent rate of interest per annum converted to each month. This is how it is done. It is very simple. And now getting the 11 month or 10 month or 9 month interest rate, what you can do is see from here. For instance, in 2014 August, you have made an investment of 5,200. Every year August it goes like this, as of 9.5% interest, that is multiplied by 1.095. For each year August, the amount behaves like this, and it reaches a point here, the year of maturity. But the month of maturity is December, and from August to December there are 4 more months to go. So as of 9.5% of interest for 12 months, what would be the interest for 4 months? So it is 3.1667. It is calculated by using T12 into R12, that is this is T12, that is rate of interest for 12 months, that 12 months into 4 months divided by 12, so it is 3.1667. Now this value is multiplied with the previous, just 2024 August, you have this much amount of the 5,200 invested in 2014 August. This turns out to be 12,886 on 2024 August. But how much it would be on December of the same year? This is only this much, which is slightly lesser than the previous month comparison, because August is just 4 months to go for December, but the previous one was July, which has 5 months, so 5 months interest is a little bit higher. The main purpose of this Excel sheet to demonstrate there are so many values. The main purpose of so many values is to maintain a timeline record of data. So even if you feel that any bank is frauding with you or telling lies with you, you can have such impressive calculation sheet developed in order to see what amount you invest for each month and how would it behave throughout the timeline with the specific rate of interest. And as on the date of maturity or the date of withdrawal, you can fix this date and respectively calculate as in that particular month each and every amount that you invest, how much it turns. Now this is for the year 2014. Now for when 2015 you have to enter. While preparing this sheet, you just type this value 2014 January to February, then go for 2015 and type this one again, January from February December. But this, keep this cell as this cell, the value is plus the previous year, so it is incremented by 1 year, and this can be just dragged. For example, you type here January and then just leave it, you click the mouse here and then just drag till it comes to December, you just pull it, so till you pull to July, it will come till July. It's as easy as it seems. So you can just then after that copy till it reaches 2024. Now how to get these values? These values are very easy. Once you fill this particular amount, what you have to do is in the 2015, just don't copy these values in this particular area. You have to copy these values in this particular area, so that it just makes sense that in 2015 January you are investing this much amount. You can possibly go back in timeline and invest back again. So this is for this column is for 2014 and this column is for 2015. So this is for 2014. Now when you come to 2015, this 2015 January, you have to enter the values here, because this is the column which corresponds to 2015, and this is the per month investment that you are making on that particular year. Now the interest will start accumulating from only the next year, that is 2016. So the end value after so many years on 2024, you will see this particular 5,200 will be slightly lesser than the previous year, because the year starting was 2014, so it was for 10 years with 9.5 interest. 5,200 on one particular month turns out to be 12,000. So your money on 2015 at a rate of 9.5% would behave in such a manner and turn lesser, which is 11,768 on 2024 at the rate of 9.5% interest. And again, this particular value as on 2024 January for an investment of 5,200 on 2015 January, after 9 years it turns out to be this much. And now this particular amount again as on 2024 December, it will turn out to this particular amount, which is based on the 11 months interest, which is the interest is 8.7% if the 9.5% is there for 12 months. Now again, this value, when you go for 2016, you leave two columns apart. See the column here is the year of 2016, and you start making investment from January, and each month you go, every particular month for every particular year you invest an amount of 5,200 according to corresponding to that year column here. See, for example, 2020, there is just 4 months to go, and the investment that you make is not here, is here, 5,200. This is 2020, year 2020. The investment is made in the year 2020, the L column. And now when you scroll back down, you see the amount starts from here, 2020 on January, and this behaves at 9.5% in this fashion, and the amount is way lesser just because it is invested in the later period. But the illustration is as such that you are making an investment of 5,200 rupees every month for 10 continuous years. This is what is recurring. Recurring means you are investing 5,200 rupees every month for 10 continuous years, and at the end of the investment, how much amount you would get. Now, in order to calculate this, you can't just have an easy mathematics formula like using this 9.5 multiplied by some 5,200 into some formula or something like that, because you have to see how your investment, when it is done, and how does it behave at one particular time, at one particular month. Say for example, you have made an investment of and 2018 you make in the J column, in 2018 you make an investment of 5,200 in the month of August, and this is 5,200. If you want to know in 2021 how much it would be in the same month of August, it would be this much, which is 6,287. So this is how you can exactly pinpoint what at what particular time, what amount when invested turns out to be how much at what particular rate. So this is the reason for developing such a big chart, and this chart is not that difficult once you enter these values. And after that, what you have to do is just this come click here, you have to just enter plus the previous cell multiplied by 1.095. This is the value that you get. Copy this and paste this entire row. Don't do this one, and now then select the previous cell and copy the select the entire row, copy it and paste it for these particular values. Similarly do for 10 continuous years. It just takes a copy paste function for just 5 more minutes, and then what you have to wait for is filling this data. This data is very simple. You just have to repeat this 11 to 0 count every year, because this is as on 2024 January, and the till December, January has 11 more months to go. Similarly for February there are 10 more months to go, so 10. So the next cell is just minus 1 the previous cell. So like this for say for example for May, how many more months are there for December? It is 7 more months. So it just comes like a calendar from 11 to 0. Just the cycle keeps repeating. Copy that and paste for the entire rest of this column. So it is again 11 to 0 for all the years. So this is the number of months to go to December, and this is the exact corresponding rate of interest for the months remaining as to mature on that particular month, December of 2024. Say for example your amount invested here the starting of the year in June turns out to be this much at 2024 June. How much it would be on 2024 December? It would be this much, corresponding to 6 months to go at 4.75%. 9.5% interest if 9.5% interest applies for 12 months. According to that, you have 4.75% for 6 months. So this much would be the amount. Now from this cell, it is very clear that whatever amount you're keeping on investing at the end of the date of maturity or withdrawal on 2024 December, let's say your RD matures on December 2024, at that point your interest of each and every month invested turns out to be this much. So you can just directly copy the select the entire this column till here and click the auto sum. You will get this much amount. Now just divide that value by 5 zeros, one continent by 5 zeros. It turns out to be in lakhs because 1 lakh has 5 zeros. So this is 11 lakhs. 11.74 lakhs is your entire return. This return is based on monthly investment of 5,200 rupees every month for 10 continuous years starting from 2014 to 2024 with a rate of interest of 9.5%. This would be the rate of interest. The total premium investment in this case is 6.24 lakhs, which is nothing but 5,200 into 12 months a year into 10 years. So it is 6.24 lakhs. Now you have to be forgetting one more thing, that if you are having an RD instead of having an FD, you if you are considering a case that you have this much amount in your bank and you are just dividing that into a monthly investment of 5,200 for 10 continuous year and turning the 6.24 lakhs into some 11.74 lakhs in over a period of 10 years using RD. Now what would be the savings returns each and every month? How would you calculate that? See, for example, you are having 6.24 lakhs in your bank and each month you are deducting 5,200. You can just keep subtracting 5,200 from 6.24 lakhs of the sum of the bank. You also have to consider the savings bank interest, which is 4%. Now usually the savings bank interest range somewhere between 4 to 6%. So let's be a little not be that optimistic. So you can go for a 4% savings return, which means that if you keep the amount in the bank and do nothing with that, the bank will pay you a 4% interest rate for 12 months. So what would be the per month interest? It will be just the 4% divided by 12, which is 0.33%. Now the first month of the first year when you deposit 5,200 in an RD account by deducting from your savings bank, you can just straight away minus the 5,200, but this will be the amount remaining, which for the next month over a period of 30 days will accumulate an interest of 2,062 rupees at the rate of 0.33% per month if the saving bank has an interest of 4% per annum, because it is just 4% divided by 12 and per month interest is 6.33. And even if you deduct an amount of 5,200 from 6.24 lakhs by the value which remains will accumulate an interest at the rate of 3.33% per month and turn out to be this much. So the next time if you deduct the 5,200 for the next month investment, you don't have to subtract continuously from the previous cell. You have to subtract from this particular value, which is nothing but an interest value added to the bank balance for each and every month. So it is, and this particular cell will again consider this value with an interest added for the next month. So the next month deduction will again not from the above cell but from this particular cell, which includes the interest per month. So this is how the running savings account balance is calculated. When you see this logic, when applies the running saving person at the end of the investment, you shouldn't assume that you had 6.24 lakhs, which is nothing but 5,200 into 12 into 10, which is actually an investment plan. This 6.24 lakhs, after making all the investments, you wouldn't turn down to zero. Surprisingly, still you would have some bank balance, and that would be around 1.04 lakhs. This amount is not zero. This is why, if you would ask me, I would say this only because of this running savings interest of 0.33% per month. And if you just keep on continuously subtract 1,200 from 6.24, you would eventually turn out to be zero. But when you apply each and every month interest of 0.33 according to 4% savings interest per annum, you would actually make a running savings interest with deduction and with interest combined, and at the end of all your investments deducted from the savings bank account, still you would have 1.04 lakhs. So this when added with the returns is 12.79 lakhs. If you go for an RD monthly investment, if you divide your existing 6.24 lakhs with a savings bank account, if you have a savings bank account at 4% and you have that much 6.24 lakhs in your bank account with a savings interest of 4%, and you keep on deducting 5,200 every month from your account and convert it into an RD, including when you consider the returns of the RD, including the savings returns, running savings returns, your net return would be 12 lakhs. 12.75 lakhs. But instead of that, what would be your amount if you just had kept this amount in a fixed deposit and not touch it for 10 years? Straight away you take this amount, you don't have any running savings interest, you make a one time deduction and turn this balance to zero and take this 6.24 lakhs and make a straight one single investment of a single fixed deposit at the rate of same interest, which is 9.5% for the FD, which if you go for a same percentage of interest for an FD and you take this entire amount and deposit without any running savings interest, what you would get is nothing but this much. Now it is 15 lakhs. Now I would explain this formula again. It is nothing but a 6.24 lakhs into 1.095 to the power of 10. Now how does this power of 10 comes? I'll just show you with an example. For example, you have an amount of 6.24 lakhs invested in an FD in 2015, the next year. This is the starting year, it is 2014. So in 2015, what would it be? The amount at the rate of 9.5% interest. Now percentage is nothing but it should be divided by 100. So it is divided by 100, it is this much. Now your value will be this one plus 1, because your value is 1.095 times growing. Now you should multiply this by 1.095. Now what would be your interest rate at the year 2015? It would be again this value multiplied by 1.095. Now similarly you are multiplying 1.095 10 times for 10 years, so there are 10 times 1.095. so that's why you have here in this formula there are 10 times 1.095. so 1.095 to the power of 10 for 10 years. How much value of your 6.24 lakhs in the fixed deposit turns out? It is 15 lakhs. Now still there is one more thing. When you gain returns on a fixed deposit, the premium amount which you had made as an investment in the fixed deposit was 6.24 lakhs and the returns was 15 lakhs, 15.46 lakhs. So the difference between the premium and the returns is 9.22 lakhs, which is just these subtracted values, the returns minus the premium, which is 9.22 lakhs. Now an FD always attracts a tax deduction from source on the interest income. So this is called TDS, this tax deduction from source. This in present year in India, as of 2014, is 10.3%. So just check out how much your country attracts a TDS for each and every FD. For our country it is 10.3% on the interest that you accumulate. So the interest that you have accumulated over a period of 10 years on 6.24 lakhs, the returns after just the interest is 9.22 lakhs. Now apply a 10% deduction on that. How do you do that? Now 10% divided by 100 is this much, and that subtracted from 1 is this much. So this roughly means that your value, the interest that you have accumulated over a period of 10 years, you won't get that fully. You will get only 0.89 times. If you get that fully, you have to multiply by 1, but it is not that way. You're not getting it fully, you're getting only 0.89 times. That is 10.3% of TDS is subtracted from that, and the net value would still be 14.51 lakhs. I mean, it's almost 0.9 times 15 lakhs, it would be just 1 lakh lesser. So it is still 14.5141 lakhs. Now if you see the difference between the FD and the RD for the same 6.24 lakhs investment made through an RD, you have to make a monthly investment here. Every month you are making a 5200, and plus along with that the monthly balance maintained in the savings bank with a 4% interest with an equivalent monthly 3.33 running interest. Combining that, your interest, this entire RD returns and the savings remains, you are getting only 12.79 lakhs. But if you go for FD, your amount is 15.46 lakhs, and after the TDS your amount is still 14.51 lakhs. So the difference between 14 and 12 is almost 2 lakhs. It's 1.7 lakhs you are having at still a difference. So for each for every 10 years, for every 6.24 lakhs, the FD gains 1.7 lakhs on an RD if the interest rate is 9.5% and the TDS is as high, even though the TDS is as high as 10.3%. So FD has always an upper hand. So even if at one point of time you feel that you have a fixed deposit in a bank and you are the fixed depositee, you never have to convert that into an RD, never break an FD, and you never think that this amount I'll break it up and maintain a savings running interest and do a 5200 or 5000 rupees of RD a month. You will just be losing 1.7 lakhs over a period of 10 years when compared you had kept that amount in an FD. So a fixed deposit, generally people do a fixed deposit when they have a huge sum of amount and they just want to safeguard it. It is the best way, even if they say they discourage you by saying that an FD always attracts a tax deducted source and a recurring deposit does not. Still they are wrong, because even after the TDS the amount is still higher. So they say that in recurring deposit the TDS is not applied. This TDS is applied only to the FD. But even though you apply a TDS to the FD, the returns is still higher than the RD by 1.7 lakhs. So this is still a bigger amount. Say for example, for over a period of 10 years, you're losing this much amount. It just means that every month you're losing around 1000 rupees. Just calculate that. Just multiply this back into the lakhs amount and just see over a period of 10 years. For each year you lose this much amount, and for each month you lose 1432 rupees. For each month, this is the amount you lose if you convert an FD to RD. So keep the FD. So keep the FD. People always go for preparing an RD chart just to compare this one. Don't lose this much amount per month. If you are going to go for an RD, the only reason should be that you don't have this much amount and you are making a small investment of 5200 rupees a month, and you are able to give 5200 or an equal amount of your own country every month, every single year for straight 10 continuous year. So making an RD is always a commitment that every year and every month you have to make a continuous investment. If any in between, if you break for not paying an RD amount of 3 or 4 months, your RD account will be stopped or you will attract a fine with the tax. So an RD is always a cumbersome process, and it is always a commitment to make an RD. If you still want to make an investment, if you don't have this much amount, if you're not as rich as what I'm saying here, that if you don't have this much amount in your bank, but still your interest is very high towards making an investment, you are making a commitment that every month I'll make a small contribution as a part of my investment. You have to be serious and you have to have a commitment for 10 continuous years or 15 or whatever the RD period is. You have to make a commitment for all the years, and for each month you have to be ready to pay this much amount, considering your inflation, considering your expenses increase, considering your children education, funds, loans, everything you have to consider and make a commitment then after. So making an RD is always a loss when compared to an FD. RD is made only in those cases where you don't have a huge amount and you are still making a commitment of investing a small amount every single month, every year, but never opt for breaking an FD into monthly installment, and never go for converting an FD into an RD just because of the TDS, because you indirectly will be losing this much amount per month and eventually this much amount for 10 years at the rate of 9.5%. So this is pretty well explained. Even though the chart, when the at the start of the video, when you looked at this chart, it was like a holy cow set of values. Like you can exclaim like, holy cow, how much values are there here, each value with a 4 decimal accuracy, and so many years and so many months. What are all these things? But when you construct in a similar fashion and in a comprehensible fashion, and the calculations that you make, the advantage of the sheet is to show you exactly how does your amount invested, or how does your division of amount invested over a period of time behaves at with a particular given rate of interest. And along with that, the deductions carried along with your account with a percentage of savings interest applied, how does your account behaves, and what is exactly the value remaining in your savings account after you make such investments, and whether you are ready for that kind of an investment at what particular timeline. Say for example, you have committed to make an RD of 5200 rupees per month for 10 years. You just don't have to go along with that blindly. You also have to see how does your savings account behaves. Even if you're offered a 4% saving, an equivalent monthly say 3.33% of saving, even if that is applied to your account, see the reduction. The 6 lakhs turns into almost 2 lakhs within just a few years, like for 7 to 8 years. So you have to be ready for this kind of trending deduction in your account. You have to be ready for this fact that your account is going to turn down to this much amount, and you are able to maintain other sources of income while preparing a commitment of investment. And you would get the recurring deposit returns only at the end of the period of 10 years. You cannot make a withdraw or break the RD between those 10 years. If you do that, you will simply attracting a huge tax and a fine against that. So always having a FD is a very good idea without breaking it. So according to Warren Buffett, what he says, that you don't have to actually count how much money you gain. You just blindly keep on investing. Not just blindly, but you just keep the investment and just keep it going. You just don't have to look at every month, and just you have to know for what amount you're going, and for how many years you can continue. You just can't go for a blind commitment. You also have to have the scenario of your particular situation for your particular investment for every year, and you have to apply those rates of interest and deductions to your balance bank account, and see whether you can handle that along with your family expenses. And if you can't, you have to just go for a loan. And if you are also going for a loan, how would it apply if you are applying on that on this chart? See, this currently the RDs and FD, what they do is give you in written a certificate that this 9.5 would be your rate of interest for an FD or an RD. They give you in writing a certificate. This thing, very few government banks do it. If you go for mutual funds, you wouldn't actually get a certificate in your name in writing that you would get this much amount or you would get this much interest. They don't give it in writing. They just have an estimated value of the past performance, or they have the NAV values, net asset values. So those are all different. So a mutual fund always depends on its NAV. NAV is this thing, but net asset value. But this RD and FD are independent. So these are all this is safe, and this is risky. So you have to have your account also very well managed with proper knowledge. And if you go for a mutual fund, what kind of mutual fund you should select and why you should select that, on what basis you select that, and what are all the different kinds of mutual fund and what are all the best mutual funds. I will be discussing that in the next Excel presentation, and how to judge that with website proven data. I will just drag you towards a better financial management, which I myself am doing an investment, and I have my proven records and returns on that. Some good mutual funds and fund managers have talked to me. I'll be giving a next illustration in my next video regarding the mutual funds, which will be a lot more than what you are seeing here. Is all this 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs, the difference 14 lakhs are all nothing when compared to the returns in a properly invested mutual fund, which is called systematic investment plan. This is which is called SIP, and I will be discussing how to select an SIP and how does it behave with the sense the country's business national index. Like for New York, it is New York Stock Exchange (NYSE). For India, it is BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange. So depending on that, how does your mutual fund and what is SIP, how to increase your wealth, I will be discussing that in the next Excel video presentation. And until then, goodbye.